Hello, everyone. I'm Christine Blosdale, and welcome back to episode 2 of the micro podcast on podcasting. And this episode, it's all about your name, your podcast show name, how important your podcast show name is. I cannot stress that to you enough. And when I'm working with clients on creating their own new podcasts, this is an area where I actually we take our time, because this is probably one of the most important aspects of your show. And a lot of people just rush through this. They just want to get going. And I understand the excitement. Listen, you're brand new to podcasting. You're thinking about having your show and you want to get recording. You want to get those shows up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google and all those other platforms. But this is an area of your program that you really want to take your time and get right. But you also want to try and convey in the name of your show what the programming is about, what your show is about. Are you a cat fanatic and you want to have a podcast show all about cats, but you call it some obscure name like the name of your cat called Snooky? Snooky, the podcast show, is okay, but then you're expecting a cat to actually come out and start talking to people. You need to explain a little bit about what the genre of your show is or what you're covering. So if it is a show about cats, you might want to call it the All About Cats Show. You might want to call it Feline Fun Fridays. You might want to call it the Kitty Cat Podcast. There's all kinds of different ways you can get across to your potential audience what your show is all about. Now, taking the time to find the right name for your show, again, I cannot stress how important this is. For this important step of your podcast show, you really want to take your time. You can do a Google search. You can also go to Apple Podcasts and put in the name of the show that you're thinking about and see if it's already taken. See if somebody else already has it up. Now, the importance of this is, and I'll give this as an example to my own podcast show. I wanted to have the imagery and the idea of thinking outside of the box. Now, here's the thing. Out of the box, there are probably hundreds of podcast shows called Out of the Box. But the thing is, I needed to make it specific to me. And so I did call it Out of the Box with Christine. Now that sounds a little vague in the beginning because you're like, Out of the Box with Christine, what the heck does that mean? Well, first of all, I wanted to put my name in there because I want to promote my name, my brand, my business, but I did a tagline. So in addition to saying Out of the Box with Christine, I also added the podcast for conscious folk. Now, right then and there, you know it's not going to be a podcast show for hardcore conservative Republicans. You know it's going to be a show that is for conscious people. Now, here's another reason why you need to take your time and you need to do your research. Let's say you come up with an idea for the name of your show and you think that's it, that's the one, I know it's the one, and you do a search and you see, oh, somebody else has a show that's the same name. Put the brakes on right there, because number one, you do not want to get into legal problems. No. But also, what if that show sucks? What if that podcast show that you have the same name, what if that show is horrible and people hate it and it gets bad reviews? Well, you're going to get mixed up in that. And it doesn't matter if you're the best thing since sliced bread. If your show is the same name as a really crappy show, well, you're going to get caught up in that crappiness. Sorry, but that's how it is. So take your time, do your search. Now, just because you have a favorite fruit, like a raspberry, or you love the planet Neptune, doesn't mean that should be the name of your show. If it's too obscure, people are not going to know what the hell you're talking about. So I've had some clients that have this affinity for a particular object or a particular flower, and so they want to name their show that, but it's too obscure. And I'm like, is it a show about roses? Is it a show about Neptune? Is it a show about raspberries? No, it's not. So drop that. Another thing you can do, if you like, you can use your full name so that you can promote your brand or your business. And you can promote your business, you can promote your brand by just naming your podcast after your name. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel and click that bell, hit that bell, ring that bell so you can be notified of upcoming episodes. And again, thanks for watching another installment of the Micro Podcast on Podcasting.